Hello, Cappuccino. Miss Castro here. Sorry, I'm not at school today. I'm at home, not feeling so great. But here is your assignment for today. You need a paper. Get the paper from the guest teacher, and it will have a picture of this same problem on it. And you're going to go to Desmos and you're going to do this problem in Desmos. So after you watch this video, you're going to do this same exact problem in Desmos and you're going to write down your moves on the paper. You're going to write down your work on the paper. So notice in this problem, I have 3 X's on the left side and I have only ones on the right side. So I cannot get rid of X's from both sides. I don't have X's on both sides. So when you have more than one X on one side and you can't get rid of them, what you can do is divide them up into groups. I have 3 X's, so I'm going to make 3 groups. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab my pencil tool here, and I'm going to show you that this one X goes with these 3. The next X goes with the next 3. And the third X goes with the last 3. So since I had 3 X's, I divided up the other side into 3 equal groups. So what does 1X equal? 1X equals 3. Now, how do we write that using algebra? Here's how we write the algebra. I'm going to type it on here. We started with 3 X's equals 9 ones. Then I want to divide that into 3 groups. The way we show division is we use a line underneath what we're dividing. I'm dividing into 3 groups, 3 equal groups. So I'm going to divide. I divided both sides of my equation into 3 groups. There are 3 groups on both sides. But I just want to know how much is one of those groups. So 1x is equal to 3. So I had 3x's is equal to 9. I divided it into 3 groups, and I get x equals 3. How do I say that in English? So the English I would write would be divide both sides into 3 groups. Oops, it's running off the screen. Divide both sides into 3 groups. That's the English, how I would write what I did. Okay, so that's the first problem. Now we're going to go to the second problem. This one's a little bit fancier. Notice I do have x's on both sides. I don't want to have x's on both sides, so I'm going to take off an x from both sides. Notice when I take off an x from both sides, it balances. So then I see my 2 x's have a 1 with them, so let's take off 1 from this side and remove 1 from this side. Now I'm left with 2 x's over here. That means I need to make 2 groups on the right-hand side. So I'm going to move these 1's around so I can make 2 groups. If I move these like that, now I can see it quite clearly. I'm going to trace them. Here's one group. And then here's the second group. So you can see that 1x equals 4. Okay, so let's write this out with algebra. So the original problem was 3x plus 1 was equal to 1x plus 9. That was the original problem. And then the first thing I did is I took an x off of each side. So I minused x from the left side, and on the right side, I minused an x. And then I was left with 2 x's, and I still had that 1. And on the right-hand side, I was left with 9. Then the next thing I did is I took off the 1 from both sides. I took 1 off from both sides, so let's write that. So I minused 1 to get rid of the positive 1. I did that on both sides. And that left me with 2x on the left side, 2x on the left side, and 8 on the right side. Then I divided it into 2 groups. So to show my division, I'm going to use the pencil tool. That didn't work so great. Let's try that again. Divide, there we go. Divide into 2 groups. So I divide it into 2 groups. I'm showing that I'm dividing. That's what that little line means divide. And the number on the bottom is how many groups. Divided into 2 groups. And what was left, I got that x, 1x, is equal to 4. So there's the algebra. So now to write it in the English, what did I just do? I'll put that in English. The first thing I did is I remove x from both sides. Then the next thing I did is I remove 1 from both sides. And then the last thing I did was divide both sides into 2 groups. And there's the English. So these 2 problems are on the paper that you will be given by the guest teacher. So go ahead and get into Desmos, do these pictures on the screen, and write them down on the paper. When you're doing it in Desmos, you do not have to write the algebra and the words. These go on the paper. Okay, so this part right here, you don't have to put it in Desmos. You can if you want, but this goes on the paper. You're going to get a paper. Oh, this is so hard to write with this pencil. You're going to get a paper from the guest teacher, and you're going to write all of this gets written on the paper. Okay? And then you'll see there's more problems on the paper, and those problems, you can do them on here, help you solve them on here first, and then write them on the paper, making sure you're writing your algebra and your English. Okay, good luck. Hopefully I'll see you next week.